Which article of the Indian Constitution deals with citizenship? C. Article 5. Who is considered a citizen of India by descent? B. Someone whose parents were born in India. Which of the following statements about Indian citizenship is false? C. Citizenship cannot be acquired by registration or naturalization. A person who has Indian citizenship can also hold citizenship of another country. C. Depends on the other country's laws. Which committee recommended the inclusion of fundamental duties in the Indian Constitution? C. Swaran Singh Committee. How long does a person have to reside in India in order to be eligible for Indian citizenship by registration? C. 7 years. Which of the following is not a mode of acquiring Indian citizenship? C. By appointment. Who is eligible for Indian citizenship by naturalization? C. A foreigner who has resided in India for 12 years. Which of the following is not a fundamental duty of Indian citizens? C. To pay taxes. Which amendment to the Indian Constitution introduced the concept of Overseas Citizenship of India, OCI? B. 86th Amendment. Which article of the Indian Constitution guarantees right to equality? A. Article 14. Which fundamental right prohibits discrimination on grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth? B. Right to equality. Which article deals with right to freedom of speech and expression? A. Article 19. Which fundamental right includes protection against arrest and detention in certain cases? A. Right to life and personal liberty. Under which article of the Indian Constitution does right to education fall? A. Article 21A. Which fundamental right guarantees protection against double jeopardy? C. Right against self-incrimination. Which article deals with right to constitutional remedies? B. Article 32. Which fundamental right prohibits child labor and human trafficking? B. Right against exploitation. Under which article of the Indian Constitution does right to privacy fall? A. Article 21. Which fundamental right prohibits forced labor and traffic in human beings? A. Right against exploitation. Which part of the Indian Constitution covers the directive principles of state policy? B. Part 4. The directive principles of state policy are inspired by the Constitution of which country? C. Ireland. Which article of the Indian Constitution contains the directive principles of state policy? B. Article 43. The directive principles of state policy aim to establish a society in India. B. Socialist. Which part of the Indian Constitution contains justiciable rights? A. Part 3. The directive principles of state policy are found in which section of the Indian Constitution? C. Part C. Which amendment of the Indian Constitution added Article 39A related to equal justice and free legal aid? A. 42nd Amendment. The directive principles of state policy are aimed at promoting the welfare of which group in society? C. Weaker sections. Which part of the Indian Constitution contains fundamental rights? C. Part 3. The directive principles of state policy provide guidelines for the aspirants of the nation. A. Economic development. Which part of the Indian Constitution deals with fundamental duties? B. Part A. How many fundamental duties are there in the Indian Constitution? C. 11. When were fundamental duties incorporated into the Indian Constitution? B. 1976. Which Constitutional Amendment Act introduced fundamental duties in the Constitution? A. 42nd Amendment Act. Which fundamental duty emphasizes on protecting and improving the natural environment? C. Duty to protect wildlife. Which fundamental duty promotes the spirit of brotherhood among all citizens? C. Duty to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood. Which fundamental duty relates to parents' responsibility for education of their child? B. Duty to provide opportunities for education to children. Which fundamental duty prohibits the practice of untouchability? C. Duty to renounce the practices derogatory to the dignity of women. Which fundamental duty relates to the promotion of international peace and security? C. Duty to foster peace and harmony with other countries. Which fundamental duty encourages citizens to develop scientific temper and humanism? C. Duty to develop the scientific temper and humanism.